Hello there, and you're very welcome to another episode of the Arkham Avengers Fantasy Football Premier League podcast. You join me, the host, along with Eamon and Hector, where we take a look to see how the managers in this league are getting on in their quest to be crowned the champion for 2021-22. Gentlemen, game week 11 is over and we're going to review it here. The highest points were 116. The average points 42. That's the same points, if I stand corrected, that we had last week. Is there a pattern growing here? I'm not sure if there's a pattern growing here. There certainly is a different slant to this whole fantasy football league this season. And this is, in my view, down to the forward lines. I've spoken about this before. To me, we're missing a real attacking striker. There's nobody out there who's doing it week in, week out. Why is that, Eamon, in your view? Well, I think there's a couple of factors here. I think some of them just aren't up to it. They're not good enough. I think some of them are a bit leggy. Some probably don't want to be at the club that they're at and are not giving 100%. Possibly they don't want to get themselves injured and rule themselves out of getting a move. And the other thing probably is that I think the quality of defenders this season is that much more higher. It's a higher caliber this season than there is. Would you agree with that, Hector? Or what would you say? Well, I think that Eamon is right. I think a lot of our defenders are very good. We have the Cancelo, who were good last year, and the Diaz. They're joined now by Livramento. Duffy has been in there at times. Ben White, Alexander-Arnold there. You have Rudiger is there. Christensen is there. There's a good mixture of defenders who are doing the job. And I think that perhaps maybe, these strikers are not being afforded the opportunity to be scoring the good goals that we normally see. I'm struggling to see, sometimes you would see big matches. It would be maybe 7-2, 7-3, maybe 5-4, maybe sometimes you might see 8-2, 8-3. We do not see big goals scored. And, I think perhaps maybe when the transfer season open, that window open, there might be some teams going to try and rechange this and jig this. So you would think that defenders are doing good and the strikers are just not on the ball. That's right, yeah. And what about the midfielders then? Well, for me, I think that the midfielders is a mixed bucket. I mean, okay, Salah is the runaway guy this season. Nobody's touching him. I mean, I think he's pretty much gone for dust and left everybody there. And then, you're kind of depending on who's going to wake up and perform. Rafinha's doing quite well there. The Man City gang, you're at the mercy there. Grealish isn't doing everything that we expected him to do. Smith Rowe is not looking too bad presently. The donkey, of course, is ever useful at hitting the barn door and not doing much else. Bowen is quite good. You've got the Chelsea boys sometimes, but I mean, you're at it is like the Pep effect there. You don't know what guy is going to come on the pitch. So I think, there's a lot of... The Sonny Son is letting me down this season. He's usually quite good. He's a little bit off. Perhaps maybe the new manager, Conte, might instill a little bit of fire in the bellies there and they might do something. Very well, okay. I suppose we better have a look to see how our league got on. Yeah, I suppose we better do. This could be interesting. Hey, Eamon, it's always interesting when you're on the show there. Heck, you didn't give a shout out this time at all. Is there something up? No. I give shout out at the end of the show. That's it. Yeah, well, don't go on too long now, we want to get finished up. Yeah, sure, no. I'm surprised that the Captain Fantastical, Mick, hasn't joined us. No, Mick didn't join us now. He's actually, because there's a couple of international matches on, he's busy doing a little bit of reporting and analysis and commentary work there, so he didn't get a chance to join us this week. He does send us apologies. I think he might be back though next week. Well, he might be back next week. We're not going to have any game weeks. I don't know what he's going to talk about. Well, that's true. I'm sure we'll find something to talk about. Now, on we go. First place, there's no change. Sorry, KDB, 62 points. Eamon, over to you. Okay, so the new manager, well, he's not that new now. I mean, he's in a couple of weeks. He's still holding first place. One transfer. He brought James in and got 7 points. A good move. And he stuck out with Rudiger, who got 2 points. It's a good transfer move. And it's the sign of a good manager who makes good transfer moves. And when you see that, you have to take notice. Now, he had Salah as the captain for 10 points. I think his defence is excellent. James got the 7 points, as we said. Alexander-Arnold's got the 12. Cancelo got 14. The midfield, okay, they're holding their own. As I said, Salah had the 10 points, so he was the captain. Rafinha got the 9 points. Foden 3 and Son 3. You probably would have expected a little bit better from them, but it is what it is. I'm not going to talk about the forward lines because it really doesn't feature much. Tony with the 1, Jimenez 2, Antonio 2. Now, I suppose the red herring here is Sanchez getting the -1. A little bit disappointing there. A banana skin that the team could have done without. Getting that red card, not great. Probably is going to change a few things up for some managers. But look, overall, this manager will be pleased where they are. They're clocking up the points. They're proving quite difficult to catch. As you notice, some of the game weeks, they'd be down to 20 odd points on it there. There's 46 points in it between themselves in second place. Getting those extra points, pushing away there, it's keeping them at the top there. And from what I see so far, this manager is steady. They're holding their head. They're not floundering. They're not concerned. They're not worried. They're doing what they have to do. And I like that in a manager. And as you said, second place is Toboggers 6. No change there. 60 points. Hector, do you want to have a chat about this? Well, yeah, as you said, they got the 60 points. No, I think, they did the one transfer. They brought the 20 guy in and they put Ings out. Ings was injured, so there was nothing much you could do about him, He's injured, you have to put him out. Why is Tony leave out? No, he leave him on the bench. Don't he leave him on the bench? Tony came in and Tony got 1 point. But would you say that's a good transfer? We got 1 point. About 1 point, you'd like a little bit more, wouldn't you? You would do, yes, yeah. But I have to say one thing. I'm not sold on the Tony guy. There was a lot of hype about Tony when he came in here. He was doing this and he was doing that. I have not seen Tony doing much. And I don't think Tony is adapting to the Premier League. And in my book, I will leave Tony to one side. Tony need more time, but you can't have Tony on time. He's not doing anything for team. You have to allow time, another space, another way, and get him in and get him out. Because you wouldn't have Tony in at all, is what you're saying. No, I would leave him out. So he has Salah as captain, the 10 points. Good. Havertz is there, the 8 points. Good. And Rafinha, 9 points. Good. They had the Ramsdale, good goalkeeper, 7 points. Alexander-Arnold get the 12. Livramento get the 6. Little bit disappointed with Matip getting the 1 and Christensen getting the 2. And again, this is probably going to feature for most of the managers. Forwards lines, they're not really doing anything whatsoever. Yeah, they're a little bit weak, aren't they? A little bit weak, you would like to see a striker getting a goal, Vardy getting 2 points, Antonio getting 2 points. Not good. They had Foster 11 points on the bench, but on the other guys, they all had the 2 points, and 1 point. They had 2 points on the bench, so he covered that way, so not doing too bad. I look at them and I say that this manager, they're chipping away. Yeah, they're chipping away, but I have to say, they're not making a killer impact. They dropped 2 points there again this week. And if you want to push, and like this is, as I said, this is an experienced manager. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why Tony came in. Well, probably it would have been that there's not much to select from. And look, geez whiz, lads, there must be something better out there. You can't have this. I don't know about that. No. Listen. That guy is, he's like don't even go there, Eamon. Look, you just want to say that he's not good enough, and that is, he isn't good. I don't think he's good enough. And look, he's a sound lad, I'm sure. I don't know him, but he's not doing any business. But then again, you could say that about Vardy, and you could say that about Antonio. Sure, Ronaldo blows hot and cold, depending on what way the wind is. Yeah, you do that there. But I actually think that there must be some other guy that you could bring in. And who would you bring in? Who would I bring in? Yeah, Eamon, who would you bring in? Like, if you're sitting there now, Eamon, and you had to make your transfer, who would you bring in? Yeah, okay. It's a good question. I probably will go for maybe the same Maximin or Jimenez, somebody like that. They might get something. I'm sure they're not doing much better than the Tony, are they? No, probably not, but I think they probably would be doing better there. Rodrigo is not doing too bad. And look, I think Benteke has capability there. Look, they have more capability than Tony, I have to say. Especially with form-wise. I mean, I think Tony's a way off down the road. I think he's probably tumbling a lift trying to get back on the road. But no, I wouldn't be going for Tony. Third place then, and they've moved up, is Legion 11, 51 points. Eamon, I'll go back to you on this one. They had 1 transfer. Yeah, they had 1 transfer. They brought Rodrigo in, got 2 points, and they put St. Maximin out. He got 2 points. Pretty much a waste of a transfer, if you ask me. Didn't get any value out of that, that's for sure. Salah's the captain yet again, and Alexander-Arnold got the 12. Cancelo got the 14. Look, the defence is working. Let's not talk too much about the forward line. 4 points out of 3 players. pretty shambolic. Midfield, apart from Salah getting the 10 points, Townsend didn't do anything, Memo didn't do nothing, and Tielemans hasn't done anything either. And look, there was really nothing on the bench either there, I have to say. It's a team that's creaking here a little bit. The midfield suddenly is creaking there, especially those lads. 3 lads there got 7 points. Salah got 5 on his own. There's something not right with that picture. Yeah, but again, what would you do? How could you rectify that, Eamon? I think you need to go and settle for players that maybe other managers aren't going for. What would you keep Salah, wouldn't you? Well, you'd have to keep Salah. He's the one functioning player. But the rest of them, yeah, you'd have to say it might be time to go, lads. In my view, okay, they've got themselves up one space, but I think that's probably just because the next manager made a complete faff of their team, their transfers. Really took their eye off the ball, but this is a team that's huffing and puffing. Okay, so of course Raglan Road are now down to 4th place. They got 41 points. Now their transfer, and I mean, you're commenting there saying they've faffed about and made a bit of hymns. They brought James in, who got 7 points. And they put Diaz out, who got 6. Like, they got an extra point. At just the extra point. It's not lighting up my horizon, that I have to say. No, I'm not impressed with that. That's nearly as good as Rodrigo in and Maximin out. No, it's not really good here. But he also went for Salah as the captain, so they've kept consistency there. And look, they picked up, like White got them 8 points, yes, and Sanchez lost in the points there. Again, like they have 3 players up front. Like they got 4 points. And there's really nothing on no guy on the bench that you'd be saying, look, a pity I didn't have him in there. Livramento got the 6 points. I suppose the best thing here would be the defence. But look, I think if I was this manager, I'd be getting the sweeping brush and sweeping half these Lachicos out. And they're not doing what they should be doing. Even Dallas hasn't really sparkled. Hector, what do you say about this? Well, I don't know if Eamon go take brush, he might have to get dump truck for some players, he had the Ronaldo in there and he like using Ronaldo, he played good 1 week, play good. But too much going on with the Man United at the moment. I would not have the Ronaldo in there. I think, you could pick a better player than the Dallas. However, look, they're still in 4th place, and this is a first season manager. I don't say you're doing too bad. I say, hey, keep it up, keep going, thumbs up. Upper place to 5th is Arkham Avengers, 52 points, and they didn't have any transfers. Hector, I'm going to you on this one first. Not me. Do I get a chance to talk about the spoofer? Eamon, you have all the time in the world to talk about the spoofer. I'll let Hector go on this first. Well, they were stung with the Sanchez, -1. Yeah, he didn't do a transfer. I wondered at that. But however, maybe, and perhaps maybe he look good now because now they won't, they can transfer the goalkeeper out. Defensively, not too bad. White get the 8 point. Christensen let down, get 2 point, and Livramento, he got the 6 point. They had Salah as the captain. They also had the Bowen 9 points. Good. Fina, 9 points. Good. Foden got the 3 points. Probably could do a little bit better. But look, 3 points is better than 2 point or better than 1 point. Up front, lads. Wang, you get the 2 point. Antonio get the 2 point. Vardy get the 2 point. Again, we've discussed this. Could be doing better, looking better. On the bench then, looking very positive. Saka got the 3 point. Dyer, he had the 8. Sass got the 1 point. The other goalkeeper, he is injured as well. Look, I think, I always say, with your points on the bench, you're in the right direction. They're gonna be place. It's a positive in my book. Hey man, over to you. Well, look, what I was going to actually say is 52 points, 10 points above the average, didn't do a transfer. And it's a bold spoofer that's not doing a transfer. They usually have a transfer every week. Sometimes they might have more transfers than they need. They decided to sit back and they just want to let the team run. And sometimes that can work out well. And in this case, they've gone off a place. I mean, previously, before, I was saying that they survived a week. At this point, like, when you look at that, there's life in the spoofer yet. Oh, compliment, man. My gosh, the spoofer hears this, they might fall down with shock. Take it while it's being given. As I said, I give credit where credit's due. And when it's not due, I don't give it. Down to 6th place then is Ain't Got a Clue, 41 points. Now, Eamon, we'll start you off on this. Yeah, no transfers. I think something happened with this manager. Van Dijk is back as captain. Yeah, they played a free hit the week before there. Do you think that they had forgotten about the free hit and didn't realise that the team they put in was going to change, or did they think? I think they took their eye off the ball, or something happened to them. Maybe it was having a feed someplace and fell asleep. But yeah, I think they played their free hit and then forgot, oh, my team is going to revert back to the old formation. And we have to remember that. This is what happens. Van Dijk is the captain. That's just nonsensical stuff there. Especially when they did have Salah. Now, there's nobody else in the midfield doing anything. But Alexander-Arnold got 12. Stones got 6. Lores in goal got 6 points. And the guy who you'd like to have had on the pitch instead of Maupay, Pukki, 9 points. This manager is kind of like an incidence of I take 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Not really showing much form. And if you make a little schoolyard error like this, forgetting they hit, then, well, perhaps they're also learning, maybe they didn't realise. Well, they should have realised. We spoke about this during the summer. If they're listening to the episodes, they would have realised that we covered the chips. And the chips was one of the free hits. And I did say it'll work for 1 week and then your team reverts back. Maybe they missed that episode. They're missing an awful lot of episodes if you ask me. Hector, have you anything to say to that? No. I agree with him. They should be listening to us. In 7th place, hasn't moved this week. Lightsome squad, 56 points. Eamon, I'll go back to you on this one here. 1 transfer. Yeah, they had 1 transfer. They brought Smith Rowe in and they got rid of Kovacic. It was a very good move. Smith Rowe got 8 points. Kovacic's not playing. Salah is the captain. They had White got 8. Cancelo got 14. Kane got 6 points. It's a reasonably good defence. Again, shocking shambles up front. But look, I don't think any manager can do anything with these forwards. They're just not. They're firing blanks at this point. So they are. And, a couple of decent points on the bench there. Laurie's had 6, the goalkeeper. Saka got 3. Gray got 3. Reguilon got 5. So, not looking too bad at all there. So fortunate. They're kind of stuck in 7th at the moment. But you'd like to think that, another week they might be able to get moving. Yeah, so there are 584 at the moment. Ain't got a clue is 601. So a little small gap, not much there, but it's still enough that they want to try that. Well, you said Ain't Got a Clue is turned off, so how do you want to expect them to shine? No, but still, Lightsome needs to move and get moving there. Okay. So, down in 8th place, of course, a non-mover also is Lafayette Lions, who got 55 points. Amen. I come to you in a moment on this. Now, this is a team who have been performing and not doing too bad here. They had 3 transfers, minus 8 point hit. Steep. That's very steep, Dad. Did it pay off is the question. I don't know. Did it even? They brought Chilwell in and they got 2 points. Markel went out. He didn't play, so they're 2 points up there. Okay. Usually, Hector would do some sort of a special effect. What do you want me to do the special effects again? Okay, if you want to do the special effects there, Hector, fire away. Chilwell in for 2 points. Markel out, no play. Ding. Rice was brought in for 2 points. Kovacic went out, no play. Ding. And then they brought in Watkins, who got 2 points, and Lukaku went out. Ding. So look, it's not a great transfer in my view. They got points. They did get points, but they lost points. They lost more points than they gained, and that's why it's not worked out. They'd have been better off just with the 2 transfers. And look, if you're going to lose the 2 points out of that, it's a pretty useless transfer in my view. Now, so Hector's dings are out of sort here. Hector's always dinging in my view. He just doesn't know when to stop dinging. Eamon, I don't know nothing, but can we move back here just to Lafayette Lions? So Eamon, what you're saying is the transfer policy didn't work. No, it didn't work. If you lose 8 points and you only get the 6 points in, you're already down. Salah was the captain, 10 points. Rafinha is in there, 9 points. They had Alexander-Arnold, got 12. White 8, Livramento. There's a pattern here, as you'll notice, a lot of the managers are all starting to have the same players because they're getting points there. And up front, it's the terrible 2s. Say Maximin 2, Watkins 2, Antonio 2. The bench, not great. I think that I can understand possibly what they were trying to do. The players they brought in didn't function. They've let them down. They've let themselves down. They've let the manager down. The manager's trying to get into the gear, into rhythm. It's just not working. Won't work with these guys. Okay. 9th place, and they have gone up, is Can We Win Again? 48 points. They had 2 transfers. They've lost 4 points. Hector, do you want to take this away? Well, they brought in Ramsdale and they got 7 points. They put the Ray out, don't know, plays. So that's a good result, 7 points. The other brought the Smith Rowe in, he got 8 points. They put out MacArthur, he got 6 points. It's still a positive, it is still a working transfer, it works. They opted to go for Salah as captain as well. They had the Rafina 9. Other than that, not much going on in the team. They had Lores who got 6 points, so the goalkeeper on the bench, and Diaz had 6 points. But, they got the 48 points. Not doing too bad. Just means other managers had a worse week. Man, any comments about this? There isn't really a lot to say about this. The defence really is not doing much there at all. I mean, what is it? There was 9 points out of 4 players. It's a poor return, especially when you see what other managers have managed to get going. Now look, they got 48 points. They'll be happy with that. I think losing the 4 points probably hurts. Doesn't help their position because they're trying to pull themselves up there. But it is working. They're going in the right direction. They put a stop to the rot that was in there. They have Antonio there with the 2 points. Ronaldo's there with the 1 point. It just comes across to me that these lads are waiting for the grass to grow before they try and score. This is just, it is poor. It's shocking. In 10th place, and they're also on the way up, the mighty Defenders, who got 53 points. 1 transfer, Hector. Yeah, they brought Gallagher in, 11 points. Kovacic went out, no point, no play. That was a good transfer. Very good. Salah's the captain, 10 point. The defense, little bit mixy. Livramento got him the 6 point. Cancelo though had the 14 point. Up front, they got the 4 points from the 3 players. Not great. Bench, not great. Yeah, look, look, we'll have to stop talking about the forward lines. Like, it's going to get tiresome for the listeners here, but this is the yo-yo team. They go up, they go down. They're going up this week. They'll probably go down next week. They might as well enjoy this while they can, where they are. When they are down to 11th place, then it's Rosie Rovers, 25 points. Not great at all, is it? It's not great at all. No, not good. Not very good. Hector, what would you say about this? Yeah, they had no transfer. They went for Fernandez as the captain. They got the 4 points. Ederson got them 6, the goalkeeper, and Gabriel got them 5. That's about it. Nothing else happening here. Yeah, look, this was a star manager before. It isn't good. I'm starting to wonder about this manager. Are they tuned in? Are they waiting for something? Like, when you see Ederson and Gabriel, 2 players, they got 11 points. The other, and then the captain, okay, so they got 15 points altogether. So that's 3 players. The other 7 players managed 10 points. There's a problem there. There's a real big problem here on this. I think that this manager needs to sit down and reflect on what some of these players are not doing. If they're not looking at this team, they must have a busy life, is all I'm going to say. And down to 12th place, Bamford Rejects, and they got 28 points. A little bit better than Rosie Rovers. Yeah, they got 28 points. Again, this is the transfer shy gang. No transfers. They haven't had a transfer at all. No, they haven't had a transfer at all. Yeah, look. And you can't get away with this. You have to do a transfer. They also opted for Fernandez as the captain. And I think Rafina pretty much saved it for them there, like 9 points. Like, Bamford is on that pitch. He's injured. There's no points coming off the bench. I think they would say you need the points. Yeah, you would need the points, Ailing is on the bench. He is injured. Why you... Take it easy there, Hector, from what? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just keep your hands down and stop waving around there too much. Yes, you're not directing a plane or you're not directing traffic. Keep your hands down. You nearly hit me in the eye there. I'm sorry, but you're sorry. I'm just trying to express myself. Well, look, nobody's going to see your hands waving around. You don't have to express anything. Just talk. Okay. And where was I saying? You were on about Ailing there. Yeah. Ailing injured. Bamford injured. Why you keep the players there? You need to move them out. Like Eamon was saying, they're waiting for something. They're waiting for inspiration. I don't know what they're waiting for, but it's cardiology that, this is skylarking from these lads here. I don't know what they're at. Up a place to 13th is Maximum Effort. 51 points. Eamon, no transfers. Yeah, they didn't have any transfers here, and they went for a different captain. Saint Maximin. They got 4 points. And they went for somebody different. And look, better than the Fernandez anyway. And look, Lores and goals got them the 6. Cancelo had 14. Diaz had the 6. Van Dijk let them down. Bernardo got them 8. Salah was there at the 5. The rest of the lads just not doing anything whatsoever. A couple of points on the bench. Positive there as Hector would say. In my view, you need another good week or 2 in order to show that they're serious now and that they've knuckled down and doing something about this. That this isn't just a flighty run up and I'm going to stall here. But, you know, I'm going to say this as well. This particular part of the table, it's not hard to move up, especially when you're up against the Bamford Rejects or the Rosie Rovers, you know, the Wild of Duty 99, Loco John. When you're up against them, it's easy to be moving up a spot. 14th place, and they have dropped is Water Beauty 99, 29 points. Hector, 1 transfer. They brought the Jesus in. They got 2 points. Kako went out, he no play. Okay, they got the 2 points. They too went for the Fernandez as the captain. Not much point. Guerra got the 6 points. Salah would do at 5. Okay, they got 4 points from a captain, but I mean, nothing was much going on. They had Foster, who had 11 points as their sub goalkeeper. But other than that, not a lot going on here. I think, you know, to me, this is a manager who look like they have run out of ideas. They don't know what they want to do with the team. But another week there. Now, hold on. Rudiger would have played well. Duffy has performed this season. Mount usually does good. Antonio has moments. And look, Jesus is capable of getting a goal. They've got, 2 goals this season, and they've had 5 assists. So it's a case of like, this is an off week for some of these players. Some of these players are having off weeks constantly. I understand though where you're coming from, yeah, that some of these players would do better, and look, it's 29 points. There's nothing you can do about it. Just unfortunate. This manager seems to be bogged down here. It doesn't seem to have a plan of action of what they don't need to do. I think they need to change their captain for a start. But then everybody is having Salah as their captain. Yeah, well look, you're getting points out of Salah. Of course you're going to have him as your captain. At this point, there's nobody else there of regular nature who's getting the points. You have to do that. But finally, 15th spot has El Loco John. They managed to get 45 points. They've had no transfer either. Eamon, talk us through this. Okay, and they got the 45 points. I think they were lucky to have Diaz, who got the 6 points. Stone got 6. White. The defence shaped up this week. Then Rafina, they got the 9 points. De Bruyne got 3, and Hiver got 3. And I think, you know, they had Foster, the goalkeeper, 11 points here. Now, there's an element of luck here. Why do you say that? Simple. They still have Lukaku as a captain, and he's not playing. So why have they not gone for a different player? I don't know, Eamon. Why haven't they? They haven't, because I don't think that either this manager doesn't know what captain's supposed to do, or they're not paying attention, or they're distracted. That's quite possible. Yes, but you don't know what's going on, Eamon. That, you know, they could be distracted. Maybe they haven't had time to have a look at their team. Maybe they haven't, but I mean, it's kind of a little bit regular here that I see the Lukaku. Hector, I think, you know, if you could change captain, you might have a better chance, you know. And I think, like, the Lukaku will come back, you know. Hopefully, maybe after this break, he'll be back and they will do well. Well, I think, you know, it'd be good to change your captain now. Yeah, settle one. I think, yeah, you'd have to do that. Like, this is just, no more than the transfer shy gang. This guy not changing this captain. Yeah, these lads are not tuned in. Certainly not tuned into us. Okay, well, that's the team as it is there. Look, the only thing I can say about the Loco John is, look, they're consistent, if anything, with no changes. So we can depend on them next game week not to have any changes. We'll have to see. Okay, lads, that's the roundup for the team. A little bit of movement up and down there. No big real standout manager this week, is there? I suppose the only manager would be sorry KTB. You know, they're doing what they have to do, staying in the lead. Okay, they didn't put in loads of points. They're not going to worry about that. Even if they were to win this with the 2 points, that's what it takes. Okay, so we're on a little break. We've no football this week, and indeed we have to wait until Saturday, the 20th of November, for game week 12 to kick off. It's a 12:30 kick-off with Leicester and Chelsea. And our fixtures, lads, are on the Saturday and the Sunday. So we've no spillover into Monday. What will we be doing for the break? I'll watch a little bit of football. I take it we have a show next week. We certainly will have a show. I'm thinking of something very interesting for us to talk about next week. I'll be chatting to you later on this week about this. It sounds interesting. Yeah. What is it? Look, I take it we're going to be recapping. We'll have to see him, and we'll have to see. We'll have to do something, because I'm not sitting here if he's going to start waffling about something. He said, what, like, is he going to review a book or something? I'm not saying anything at the moment. Eamon, you'll have to wait and see. I'll talk to you in a couple of days' time. I have an idea. I'm going to float it to you, see what you think of it, and we'll try and record it. Gentlemen, as always, thank you very much. Hector, you have a couple of shout outs, no doubt. I have, yes. I want to give a big shout out yet again to all our listeners in America. Really good, impressed, very pleased to you there. Yeah, we certainly have. Yeah, can I say this? And lads, you might not know this, but our listeners in America are usually the first listeners to this show. And like we come out on a Thursday, 9 o'clock in the morning, Irish time, and our listeners in America are there to listen to us. Gosh, that is impressive. Look, yeah, I'm impressed. I didn't know that. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Thumbs up. Also to our listeners in Germany. Very good. We have listeners in Longford now listening constantly. Dublin constantly. Yes, Galway constantly. You know, we have listeners. Yes, we have listeners in the Indian Ocean as well, listening to us there. You're very welcome to listen to us, as well as all the rest of our listeners dotted around the world. So it was a pleasure to have you there. But yes, we have our cohort of usual listeners who join us, and I have to say thank you. So that's it. Let's wrap up. Okay, well, look. It is what it is. Another Gameweek finishes. Another one bites the dust. Oh, Eamon, you want to start singing songs? Not a chance, Hector. Not a chance. And to you, our listeners, yet again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening to us and subscribing. Remember, all we ask is for you to tell your friends about us. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. Wherever you are in the world, have a good day, have a good evening, a good night. Take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.